My name is Joe Thompson from Lowestoft Oldham now. We have a new exciting project called One Place, Many Stories. And the key reason that we're trying this new podcast idea is as we progress with the project, it'd be nice to share the ideas that we have, what we learn, what goes right and what goes wrong. But also, by doing that, we can enable people to also take the best of what we do and use it in other community projects. So if we start from the very beginning, and I'll try and share my screen. So it started about 3 years ago when various of us thought it would be nice to be able to tell the story of Lowestoft and its history, particularly as I happen to live in High Street Lowestoft, the heritage High Street Lowestoft, and there's some amazing buildings. So we started to explore that idea. And because my background is in desktop publishing, graphic design, and I use a tool called Drupal, which is extremely easy and powerful to be able to create websites. So we started with a website that I can show you now, hopefully. So this is the Street Stroll. And the idea behind that was to take photographs of every single building in the high street, and then you're on any particular one. You can learn about the business that is in that particular building, but also about its history, which shows all the lovely old photographs, and also its architecture. So that's, if it's a listed building, we link to that. So it seemed that we've got something interesting going on. We approached the local council, who were very supportive, and they came back to us and said, "This is great. Would you like to tell any other stories?" And we came up with the idea of Unfallen, which is a project that aims to be a tribute to the people of Lowestoft who died in the two world wars, both Army, Navy, Air Force, but also civilian. Now, we'd come across a project in Felixstowe that did a similar job. What they did is they found out all of their fallen and where they actually lived, and then they put signs on the street lights of those particular streets that would say Harry Jones lived at number 22 over there, Sid Smith lived at number 7 over there. And it struck me that that was a brilliant way of bringing history to life. So that every day you might walk past those same doors, which those brave people came out of, never to return, and think, well, that gives me an idea of what went on. So we tried that for Lowestoft, but we quickly found that our lists were missing or incomplete. So we worked with the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, who were brilliant. What they did was share their databases and allowed us to export everything that mentioned Lowestoft. Of course, we got a lot of false positives from that, which was things like Lowestoft Road, Norwich. But having got rid of those and looked into more of the primary sources, we found 2,060 people. And we then shared that as we went along on social media. And Facebook was brilliant. We joined all of the local history groups for Facebook, started to share what we were doing, and we got a tremendous response. People came back to us and said, "Oh, that was my great aunt, I've got a picture." So we built it up from there. At the end of it, we have this website that I hopefully are showing you now. If we go into one particular area, let's have a look. So this is William George Borwick. My apologies if you're not seeing it, because we're still learning about how this technology works as far as podcasting goes. But basically, we have 2,060 records which show what we have found from primary sources. Then we're able to have pictures. In this case, we have a letter as well. But also it says that William George Borwick died on the 19th of July, and it lists other people who also died on that day, maybe from the same regiment, maybe connected, maybe not, but also same age. That's particularly interesting because in this particular case, William Borwick, he was 24, and in fact what we found was that over 50%, over 1,000 of the people who died during the First and Second World War, who were residents of Lowestoft, were under 25. So that really brings it home, right down to obviously civilians, sadly children 1 year old, 2 years old, but even Navy boys at the age of 14. So it starts you to realise the cost of war as far as that sort of thing goes. Anyway, we were pleased with the way that went. And if I can see, yeah, that hasn't altered it, but never mind. So I will go back and stop sharing my screen. So, yes, so we presented that to the council. They were delighted, but they tasked us with what they said was, this is great, but how do you know this information is still going to be available in decades to come for future generations? And it got us thinking, well, if we'd have done this as a book, we could have done 20 copies and put them in all the various libraries and given them groups, and likely as not, one would survive. So that would be great. But in fact, being digital, there's always the possibility that after a while, the domain would disappear, the hosting would disappear. So we thought, yes, we've got to work hard on this. So we came up with various ideas, including QR code, Wayback Machine, shout out for archive.org, which works extremely well, but also maybe because Drupal is so flexible, we can export it as a Word document and then turn it into a book. So lots of different ideas. Offline servers was another thought. So the National Archives told them what we were up to, and they got really excited. They said, well, what you're doing here is a great example of making sure that digital archives can survive. And if you'd like to approach us for a grant, we'd love to hear back from you. So we're currently working on a grant bid for 5 projects of the type that I've been describing. And our thought is that as we do the project, what we can do is maybe once every couple of weeks, report back, tell people how it's going, but also through that, number one, get more used to doing these podcasts, but also be able to share tips and tricks, things that have worked, so that other people in other communities, because we've even had people from Derbyshire who've contacted us to say, what you're doing is very interesting, but how could we scale it being there? So the idea is we'll have lots of online notes, online videos on YouTube maybe, and maybe through these particular podcasts, if they work out, we can actually keep people informed of what we're up to, which will then form like a diary, a video diary of the whole project. Because if we do it once a fortnight, that is 26 episodes. And so people will be able to look back and say, this is how they started, this is the issues they came across, these are the exciting archives they produce, and it could be worth doing. So as I say, that is our thought as far as that sort of thing goes. So the idea is that we would do these once every couple of weeks. This is the first one. Once it starts, we'll have people from Pakefield, people from Woodbridge, and also other contributors who will come on. And as I say, if we keep it to like 20 minutes, that's 5 minutes each of us saying what we've been up to, what we found. Obviously, probably best to script it better than this, although Spotify for Podcasters has a useful feature, which is a transcript. So you can certainly make notes, so that's very good. Also, be able to invite people, so that is also helpful. But what we're currently working on is the idea of taking all of the particular websites that we've created, and I will have another bash at sharing an example of them, so bear with me a moment. So we'll go share screen, and we'll now share a Chrome tab. So let's give this a try. So we'll share that particular one. Let's go share. So this is a typical, we've got something called a street stroll, which I can show you. So let's click on here. So this is our historic high street, 180 properties. And what you're seeing is the bottom row is the buildings as they currently are. And then the top row is the oldest or most interesting picture of that particular building. So here you can see Lowestoft Arts Centre, as it currently is, to be an advertising agency. So if we click on that, hopefully we'll see some more excellent photographs. So you can see here, and also, as I say, it gives us a chance to plug the organisation or the business that's currently there, but also tell a little bit more about its architecture. So if I go back down to here and back to Spotify for Podcasters, we can try and share. Let's see, if we go back to here, stop. Okay, and then we'll try and share the other tab, which I was keen to show you. Luckily, these things don't go as well as you expect sometimes. So screen, but we'll also share this one, which is the R Fallen one that I mentioned. So let us choose somebody here. Well, let's start here with, this is the front page, which shows 4 people at random to highlight them. It also gives you a quick quote, which is, first of all, Rayner was a sawer at a sawmill, and also highlights a particular street that was particularly affected. But then you've got a list of all of the 2,000 people who are part of this database. Here we have Russell Keeble, and this is a new picture we got quite recently. We've done really well with people being very generous and sharing their stories and their photographs. So as I say, Russell Keeble was with the trawler Katie White, which sadly, as I say, was sunk, and all 18 of the crew, including Russell, were killed. But it's a great way to be able to share information, link it. So as I say, you can see here other people of the same age who were sadly killed. Also, because he was with the Royal Naval Patrol Service, you've got other people from there. And as I say, he was at Knockley Road, Lowestoft, number 107. And you can see on the right-hand side, other people from Knockley Road. So these are the projects that we've currently got. I will go back to Spotify for Podcasters and stop sharing. Back to there. So the thought as far as the National Archive project is, can we take the templates that I've currently just shown you, merge them together, and then offer them to any other community to say, if you'd like to tell your stories, then what we will do is create a new website. So we have the domain Many Stories. So therefore, if it was Norwich, for instance, it would be onenorwich.manystories.org. It would be, in fact, we would spin up a blank website with our template on it, and then work with them by providing workshops, show them the skills that we've learned, but also encourage them to tell their stories. We'll take all of the technical stuff away from them and just hopefully help them tell their stories. But then at the end of the project, which should run for a year, we'll be able to export that in various formats. We'll be able to turn the dynamic website into a static website, sorry about the technical stuff, and make that available via memory sticks, offline servers. We'll also be able to share it on archive.org, and that will enable us to be able to say that it will be there for decades to come, even though it's static, but also maybe turn it into books. We've then given the people involved in each of the projects the skills so they can carry on with it. So we're quite excited about it as an opportunity. This has been running for 13 minutes, so that's good. So as I say, I will publish it. If you've got any comments or feedbacks, let me know. But as I say, hopefully we'll get even slicker as we go along, and we'll have guests and the like. So the key message is, if you've got a story to tell, if your community's got stories to tell that they'd like to make sure are available to future generations, then we'd love to hear from you and help you tell those stories. So this is Joe Thompson signing off from Spotify for Podcasters. And on behalf of One Place Many Stories in Lowestoft, we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for your time.